Right.
Right. Here we are. We're on. We're here. This is the first of many BIMTech podcasts. I'm Adam.
I'm Ross.
And we are the BIMTech Media side of the business.
The best side.
The best side of the business.
Some have said.
The side of the business that comes up with stuff like this. And pretty much this podcast was a sort of culmination of ideas and essentially not just ideas, but sort of being put in a position where we were coming to the end of what this division of the company actually did, which was create training.
Yeah.
Which we've been doing for about 3 years now, maybe 2-3 years, through COVID, which was like the perfect time to start the training scheme that we did, which is all online, e-learning. And that's when you came in. And yeah, pretty much for the last 3 years, we've been developing training. Then near the end of 2023, or near the middle of 2023, really, we came to a point where it was starting to slow down. We had to sort of diversify. So we ended up thinking, well, what else are we good at as a media department? And that is design and
exactly.
Creation, I suppose.
Yeah. Creating content. Just a way of, we're like, how can we use our skills and the equipment that we've sort of amassed over the last 3 years that we've been using for the training?
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone's just really down for a podcast. Everyone wants to do one, and everyone's really excited about doing it. And
well, it's one of those big things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Podcasts at the minute they've been in for a while. And I do think when we were starting to do all the brand updates, because this is what this podcast is going to focus on a little bit, is we started rebranding the company, because it hadn't been rebranded in, what was it, like 7 years?
However old that website was.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if anyone's ever been on our website. Maybe some of our clients have.
Yeah.
It doesn't really show us as the company we are in terms of the size of it, I guess. Because when you started, were we just bringing in the Glasgow office then? Or was that not even a thing when you started, like 4 years ago?
Maybe it was. I remember the York office is very new as well.
Oh yeah, there was a York office, yeah. But yeah, I think
lost to time now.
Lost to time. But yeah, now we have a Glasgow office with nearly as many people in the Manchester office and a Hungarian office in Szeged. So,
with 5+ people.
Yeah. One of those being
keeps growing.
Zoltan, who worked in Manchester, and with COVID and stuff, had to go back to Hungary to be with his family, and it all worked out in the end, really. So that's what this podcast is going to focus on today. Is media specifically taking it upon ourselves to start rebranding the company and start to show it off as it is, and that included a website that we've been working with Pixel Kicks on developing. Paris, who may or may not be on this podcast at some point, hopefully.
Paris Wharton.
Yep. He's the one who's done all like the rebrand in terms of like the videography, and just giving everything a bit of a lease of life and modernizing the look.
Yeah.
Which has been informed by Luke from Pixel Kicks, who has been brilliant. So yeah, I mean we're now in the process of, we've released what it's looking like. We're just starting to get to that point of the build of the website, which will hopefully come out this year. And it's just been quite a quick and pretty exciting journey, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how the training has sort of been our bread and butter for the last 3 years, however long BIMTech Media has been active. And then suddenly we were just in a position where we were like, wow, we've got to think of something else quick. And then it was just so apparent how much BIMTech sort of needed a rebrand to sort of reflect how successful it is and how big they are now.
Yeah.
And it just, I think BIMTech deserves to be seen in that way, as a sort of contemporary, dynamic company that sort of cares about its image and is seen to care about its employees, because it's quite it's a medium-sized company, but it's still quite a small, tight-knit team of people who work very hard, and this sort of rebrand is a way to sort of share like the office environment and the relationships we all have to each other, and how the team works and how BIM works, and it's all just a big, it's an introduction of BIMTech to the world, effectively.
Yeah, I mean BIM as just a word itself. I don't know how many people know what it stands for, but if you don't, it stands for Building Information Modeling, and the whole point of the company is we are modeling the building services that go within the building. So we're sort of like modeling the heartbeat of the building before it goes to site, to minimize those costs and problems when it comes to it. We'll use this platform to really home in on BIM, and it's quite niche. We think it could probably help a lot of people within the construction industry to get a bit more of a grasp on it, because it is a niche subject, and that's one of the things that we will be having podcasts on, is BIM. Matt's talked about having other things happening on the podcast, because obviously it's going to be a bit tiresome to talk about BIM all the time. We want to focus on, like Ross said, the culture of the business.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, the three offices are in different parts of, technically the world. I mean, Glasgow's in the UK, which isn't too far away from Manchester, but it's still a different culture. There's a culture in Manchester. There's a big football culture in Manchester and Scotland.
Yeah.
And we've got a guy in Scotland called Scott, who he has a podcast. So he sort of talks to ex-footballers, and it'd be really cool to be able to do that on here, because obviously in Manchester it's a big culture, football.
Yeah.
And then probably just culture in the office as well, I think, is an important thing to focus on. So I think we've got someone sort of on the line to come in and talk about health in the office, which is really important when you're sitting at a desk all day.
And also, I think clients as well.
Clients, yeah.
Maybe when they're in, can talk about projects, or just whatever's taking their interest at the moment, and then employees from the office talk about their sort of journey with BIMTech, stuff like that. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Get some good information.
Yeah,
good content.
So this podcast right now is going to be more of a quick one. We don't want to bore you too much, but it's just to say this is the new space that we're using. It used to be, I believe, before we did the training, it used to be for scanners and printers.
Yeah.
When the training started, we needed an area to put like a green screen and some kit, so we repurposed this area. And then when it was finished, it was sort of disused, wasn't it? So we took it upon ourselves to not only make it a workable space, but to make it look really nice, so that when clients come in, it's a talking point, it's something interesting. And
you couldn't say this wasn't a studio looking at this.
Yeah,
now
this is
on
literally
camera.
In the office of BIMTech in Manchester. It's a little tiny nook. I don't know if you can hear anyone, but there is people working around there. So I think
beyond
that's
our feet is the management area of the office. Yeah.
So it's an intimate space. It's nice to have it within the office as well, and it's just something extra for content. And we talked about this together, but it's one of those things where we believe that content is really important within businesses now. You've got to be seen to be active. You've got to be seen to be like cutting edge, I suppose, in some ways. And this was our idea to start that journey in creation of content, because that was what was stagnant in the first place with the website and the social medias and whatever it was. I think the last
it
social
just
post
had no presence, online presence at all.
I think the last social post was like 5 years ago on the website, and no projects had been updated on the website either. So it doesn't show us as the company that we are. We've done so many projects now.
Yeah.
And I totted them up recently to start inputting them into the website, and it's like 40, I think, something like that. So that is why we came in and decided to change up what we do. And so far it's been really successful, and we're excited for more of the stuff to come out. I mean, we're going to be trying to get more footage of site visits, sites in general, and trying to put together some videos that just like highlight what we actually do when we're going to site and what we do in the office. Paris's video will really give you an overall look at what BIM is in a really simple way.
Across all the offices.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I think this podcast episode is just to highlight the importance, we think, because we've sort of become a consultancy within the business, like a
design consultancy, like a mediator between Pixel Kicks, who are designing the website, and BIMTech itself. And I think that's important to have with a sort of maybe medium-sized company who cares about their image, but they don't exactly know what they want. And it's good to have people on the inside who have design knowledge, have like a background in this stuff, and it was just sort of our destiny, I think, as BIMTech Media, to sort of take that as the next step after the training, because it was like, we have the skills, we have the technology, we have the technology, and we could easily just take that role, and be those people for BIMTech. And I think we will end up with a amazing website.
Oh yeah,
that's really cutting edge, and a kind of online social media presence that's distinctive, and it kind of shows the company for what it is. And we can't really see many other companies like this in the BIM sector or the construction centre who are kind of taking this approach, but it definitely makes the company seem more personable and approachable.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
Yeah. I think that's what we set out to do, was create the branding and the website to last another 10 years at the most, maybe, or minimum, because of how long it had been since we'd actually updated it. But that's it. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. Like, management have more important things a lot of the time to think about. You know, the money coming in, the tendering, just this, keeping all the staff happy and the jobs running. Yeah. I know Matt specifically, and some of the other directors would really like to focus on that kind of stuff, but there's just no time to do it for them. So that's why, like Ross said, I mean, a design consultancy is important within a business, because we can focus on things that kind of make people excited in a way. I think it keeps people's morale going, manager-wise and director-wise, because we're showing off what they're doing, and it's in a cool way, and it really gives, I think it always gives a new lease of life to a brand. I think that's the most the most exciting way to put it is, I think if any businesses are out there and feeling like they are being a bit left behind in the design side, or just like, I guess, having a presence somewhere and monitoring all that, I think it's important to, get a design consultancy in, or just even just ask some questions to a design consultancy about what can be done. I mean, that was how this started, was just trying to, me and Ross getting our heads together and just working out what are our strengths and what can a design team do to really improve a business like this in the construction sector. And this is what we came to, wasn't it? It was like,
people love podcasts, and it gives a chance for the employees as well to get involved with something like this, something that the company does outside of like the work itself.
Yeah. I think it's important to have things on the side of the business side of stuff that keep people, interested in things. I mean, when we set this podcast area up, people were instantly in there and just asking questions.
What you doing?
Yeah. Some people sat in it. I think Cash came in pretending to be Joe Rogan. So I think it creates a bit of a buzz, doesn't it? People don't know what's going on. So yeah, I think it definitely is one of those important things, design within businesses to try and diversify. Because there's other businesses that I know that employees say like, why don't we have something like this?
Yeah,
because people just don't have the time. It just is that thing. Like we
it's
personally,
an afterthought.
Yeah, well, Ross
word.
personally like spec'd up all the kit, the mics and stuff. He designed the area, and Ross came from a music design background, didn't you? Like, way up, someone's coming round. You can come round if you want. All right.
You're live. Hello, voiceover Ross here. It was at this point that some of the other folks in the office had finished working and were curious to see what we were getting up to. We had more or less reached the end of the podcast anyway, so we just took the opportunity to get some cool shots of the whole podcasting setup while they had a go at their own mini podcast. So this was just a pilot episode where we were trying some things out to see what looked good so we can improve our process for future episodes. But we thought, why not kick off this podcast with the creators explaining how it came about in the first place. Stay tuned because there's plenty more to come, from interviews with clients and experts to our own staff. We're looking forward to it, and we hope you are too. Thank you for watching and listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when a new episode comes out. If you're listening to this on Spotify, please follow the podcast and make sure to follow BIMTech Engineering on LinkedIn and Instagram as well for any future updates, and we'll see you next time.